This is a GK Media podcast.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Wellth Talks. Thanks for tuning in. It's myself, Garry Kelly, joined as always each and every Friday by Niall Leyden of Atlantic Wealth Management and Pádraic and Máille of the mastermind group Smácht. And this week we're going to turn the cameras towards you, Mr. Leyden, because I want to be focusing on this whole idea of rich versus wealthy. Okay. And there's something that you said to me a few weeks ago when we were out having a swim in the sea, the wild Atlantic. And you said to me, Garry, true wealth is invisible.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Well, what is wealth? I mean, I was asked that question, I think, last year at a presentation I was doing, what is wealth? And I mean, I was never asked that question in 30 years in financial planning and wealth management. And I mean, I struggled answering it. I was 3 minutes standing there with my mouth open. But for me, what is true wealth? It's freedom. It's freedom from financial worry. I think that's its greatest negative financial accomplishment, because I'm privileged to, help manage and mentor and talk and do business with people that have a lot of money. People with 6 and 7 and 8 figure net worths. But, if you're still worried about money, are you truly wealthy?
Mm-hmm.
So,
because you said to me before, people who are maybe on 100 grand a year compared to someone on 10 million a year, the person on 100 grand a year sleeps better, sleeps like a dog, whereas the person on 10 million, they've so many worries going through their head, they're not actually getting a good night's sleep.
Well, the statistics will tell you that a lot of the high income earners, people earning 100, 200 or 300,000, they're living paycheck to paycheck, with debt, with leverage, with holidays, with lifestyle.
Yeah, 62% of people earning over
a
quarter.
62, yeah, but it's
over $250,000 a year
are living paycheck to paycheck.
Like that for someone on my salary.
Yeah,
that's unreal.
But getting back to your question, around wealth, because it was always perceived in Ireland as being a dirty word. We're all living in this world of rich lists. Now, I'm not on it, or will never be on it, nor do I want to be on it, because I think true wealth is it's peace of mind. It's having the ability to pick up your kids from school. It's freedom. It's being present. It's being where your feet are. It's invisible. It's all of that. So
It's not the big yacht out in the marina.
For some it is. But if you look at that book, Millionaire Next Door, where they talk about, and Pádraic, you might help me with this, but some of the wealthiest people in the world, you look at Warren Buffett into his 90s, Charlie Munger there that died maybe 12 or 18 months ago, worth billions, Berkshire Hathaway, he talks around diversification and there's no free lunch. Look at the lifestyle that man needs. I'm not saying we all need to live in terrace houses and just drink cans of Coke, but this man is the oracle of financial planning and wealth management, and has written books, and I just listen and look and admire, and just, if you took 10% of what he says in terms of how to live your life and wealth management and balance, but wealth for him is just that freedom.
What was he saying about the way to live your life? What was the thing?
From an investment perspective, everyone wants the new thing, the sexy thing. So when people come to me, which they often do, whether it's 100,000 or $1 million or surplus money in the business, or they have a financial planning need, we go back to our purpose, our plan, our portfolio. And Warren Buffett will say this, that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. I think Leonardo da Vinci said it one time, but his philosophy is a very simple one. If it sounds too good to be true, it normally is. Yeah. People are looking at all the alternatives, the crypto, the various different investments. He was asked that if, heaven forbid, he were to die, what he was recommended that his wife do was that he invest 90% of his money in the good and great and wonderful companies of the world, the Coca-Colas, the L'Oreals, the LinkedIn, the Pfizers, the Google, the Facebook. Put 10% did liquid into bonds and into cash. Keep it simple. Keep it, tax from a tax optimization perspective. But simplicity. KIS, keep it simple. So wealth and rich and wealth, it's something that, it's a conversation that's not often had, but I think it's a good one. And for our children, I'd love someday for 11 and 14, 2 kids at home, to write a letter to them to say, well, look, if I was 18 again, that might be the subject of maybe a podcast someday. What are the 10 lessons I'd like to have learned? So,
and you were saying to me that some of the best business leaders that have this thing, which we spoke about before as well on Wellth Talks, delayed gratification. So they're earning good money, but they're not driving the best cars and living in the fancy mansions on top of a hill. But that actually gives them so much happiness. Because
I've gone toe to toe with some of Ireland's greatest entrepreneurs and business owners and families and windfall recipients, numerous, and I mean, the one common denominator with them all, I mean, they're modest, they're understated, they're quality, it's all about their family. I mean, it's just, it's not that it's a simple lifestyle, that's not the right word, but it's back to basics. They're planning, they're extremely disciplined, and that delayed gratification. We talk a lot around retirement planning and the third act, and I don't think you hit it every time. All these people have plans in place, and they're delaying. It's not about earning more; it's about needing less. Does that make sense, Pádraic?
Big time. I remember a guy in a course once, Jordan, that old awful depression, and somebody asked him, "How's he doing?" He says, "Earning less, but minding it better." I thought it was a great philosophy. Now, just building on your on Warren Buffett and indeed delayed gratification. I'm told that he was 9 years before he made his first investment. Now, can you imagine signing up to a course that said the 9 years preparation before you make your first investment? So I think that is absolute testament to the due diligence that man did to prepare himself before he started making, big decisions in it. Make haste slowly.
Well, it's like everything we do in our mastermind, in our business. It's compounding, the eighth wonder of the world. Whether, if you look at financial planning, bringing the future back into the present so you can do something about it now. And it's, you look at the power of compounding, whether it's €100 a month, the children's allowance, $1,000 a month, nothing is impossible. And it's a fascinating, there's been a lot of books written about it, but
how do you teach that, Niall? How would you go teaching that law of compounding at school?
And financial literacy, and I mean, that's another reason why we're involved, or certainly I'm involved and happy to contribute, is that I don't believe is properly, from a kid's perspective, whether you go back to the Marshmallow test, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I mean, when I first saw that, it goes back to the 70s, but the simplicity of it. And then people went on in later life to be very successful and have done very well. By the way, I was the other one. I was the fella that kept eating the marshmallows. Built for comfort, not speed, but it's... and
it goes back to actually what do we need, and putting a figure on it.
Well, there's somebody in the UK, a guy called Paul Armstrong, whom someday we might bring on. I mean, he wrote a book called Enough. I mean, he's a lifestyle financial planner. He's very alternative. He tells people the truth about their money. That's very much what we model Atlantic Wealth on. I mean, but the one thing he talks about his seminal moment. He was working in a big organisation, little bit transactional. There was pensions, investments, so forth. But and his light bulb moment was his parents working so hard for so long, and next thing, all of us, his dad was work, and it was the if, the but, and the when trap. The if, but, when, which we're all guilty of. And then one day that phone call came, and unfortunately his mother died, and and his thing is, and we'd very much share these values, is what is enough. We all know our phone number, we all know our PPSN number, we all know our dates of birth. What is enough, and what's our enough? Because outside of good health, what does anyone want? A good lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, wealth, rich, I mean...
And again, there's something you said to me before that always just sticks to me. It was this thing of, there's only one wish a sick person has.
Yeah, correct.
And that's, that's
a healthy man has 1,000 wishes.
Yeah.
A sick man has one.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, we have some in Ireland with some extraordinary people in our profession. There's a podcast called the TRAP. There's 3 gentlemen based in the UK and 1 in Limerick. And I mean, to talk about all these, the critical non-essentials in financial planning and the difference between rich and being wealthy, and having a peer group and having accountability and having somebody like yourself, Garry. I mean, look at what you're doing. Triple award winning, getting the message out there. Us having a conversation last year very naively when I wasn't focused on a few different things. And here we have 3 colleagues, 3 friends, hopefully sharing a few little nuggets with business owners and families out there. So it's great to be alive. We live every day and we die once.
Yeah.
Go back to that word enough. My father-in-law used to have a great one about drink, and it was that 1 is enough, 2 is too much, and 3 isn't half enough. And I kind of love that, because there's a little bit of, I think back to the discipline again and the delay in gratification. I think it's really important. And Niall, I asked you already, because compound interest implies time, yeah? How do we inculcate that with our children? How do we get the next generation? We talk about the mistakes of the father. How do we get them?
Well, you got to go back, Pádraic, to three things. And the world I live in is time, money, and patience. Time, money, and patience. And that, whether it's in finance or whether it's in saving or in investing, and it's sitting down and educating the children, which I've done, and have these conversations in terms of, we actually dedicated a podcast to, if you look at the price of Apple shares, if you weren't buying an Apple phone every year for 20 years and you instead invested that in Apple shares, I mean, the difference in compound was extraordinary. The coffees, now we all like a latte or a coffee once it's before 12 o'clock on the day, but if you were putting that 10 a day, 70 a week, compounded over 10, 15, 20 years, I was saying to my sister there a couple of weeks ago in terms of the kids' education, 3 kids under the age, and we were kind of reverse engineering. I was doing a bit of, that's what you do with the financial maths to say, well, look at if to educate the children, you want to have a pot of 60 or 80,000, you need to do X, Y, and she says, is that all? I says, yes. Because over 10 or 12 or 15 years, if you're getting, because there's only 5 places you can put your money, under the mattress or in cash. Yeah. The silent thief is inflation. I mean, that's eroding the purchasing power of money. You look at a Big Mac, what it cost 20 years ago, what it is now. The third thing then is equities. Made the mistake for many years of thinking, I knew what people thought when I was talking about equities. Companies of the world, sharing in the innovation. Look at progress is permanent. The declines are temporary. Look at the population of the world. Look at the health. Look at the longevity. Look at the progress. You put on the television, all it is noise and doom and gloom and tariffs, and we got to focus a little bit more on the positives. So the compounding, to your point, Pádraic, is so important. That tiny incremental 1% daily is 37% a year. So, like, I mean, the compound, I just think we're living in this era of everything has been, comparison is the enemy of thieves. Keeping up with the Joneses, whether it's in business or in life. You look at the children now, I mean, this peer pressure. So rich and wealthy, I'll just bring it back to the simple things, the peace of mind, the kids, the freedom, the business, the family. You have only one life, live it. The time is now. It's not a dress rehearsal.
A glorious sunset is still free.
Correct. Carpe diem. Yeah. And that's my mantra, seize the day.
Yeah, and you had mentioned there as well that, one of the reasons Wellth Talks had come to fruition was this connection that we had on family and the importance of family. And I remember being in a group before, and I actually got, because I'd be quite a relaxed, easygoing, positive guy, but I got a little bit irked. This group was just talking about business all the time. Business goals and getting angry about business. And I kind of said, folks, can we just stop for a minute? Where are you with family? I'm like, what? Said, where are you with family? What's going on in your family life?
I just said this to them.
Yeah, and they were all like, we want to focus on business. Yeah, but I said, for me, the most important thing is family. Yeah. Because when I'm on my deathbed, with respect, I'm going to be comforting myself with the moments I spent with my family. I'm not going to be about, we reached the target this month, or we got a new chair in the office that year, or, end of the day, look, it's great to be doing well in business and growing in business and building a team in business. And we all love what we do in business. We love the people we get to work with, but we're human. And we really, really need to just kind of give ourselves a little clip on the ear sometimes and just say,
100%.
Family is so important.
It's fine. It has to be 1, 2, and 3. And I mean, you look at Steve Jobs. Yeah. Was he the wealthiest man in the world? And what he said on the deathbed?
Yeah. Was it you send that app in?
Yeah, I sent it in there last week.
I thought it was phenomenal. An app that Niall sent it. I gather Steve Jobs wasn't perhaps the most personable guy in the world, but by God, was he phenomenally successful. And I was quite surprised to see him reflecting on his own demise, that it was the connections and the engagements with his own family that were the most important. I was amazed to see that, and thank you for sharing that, Niall.
Yeah, no, look at it. I mean, it goes back. Denzel Washington talks. He was doing a presentation at a ceremony in the US where he just, talking about the angels at your deathbed. And, the Mark Twain, I'll be more disappointed by the things I didn't do than the things I did do. I mean, to thine own self be true. I mean, we don't have all of the answers. If it sounds to go through, it normally is. But I mean, small things are big things in life. I mean, we just got to push on and live with intention and enjoy it. I mean, it's not all about, as you said, business, everyone wants to get on in business, but you can't pour from an empty jug. I mean, whether it's health, I mean, you just gotta, that's the true wealth, isn't it?
Yeah. Know what your true wealth really is.
Yeah, brilliant.
Excellent. There you go. Plenty of food for thought this weekend. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Wellth Talks. And again, please do get in touch with us. If you're enjoying the episode, send us a DM via social media, share the episode with a friend or colleague, and leave us a lovely 5-star positive review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to Wellth Talks on. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again next Friday.